Ever been through a breakup and found yourself wishing, more than anything, that your ex would suddenly come to their senses and want to get back together? But what if I told you the most powerful way to make that happen is to genuinely stop wanting it? Sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? Yet it's a profound truth, backed by 2 millennia of wisdom. Today, we're not talking about cheap tricks or manipulative mind games. Instead, we're going to explore how to move on with dignity, strength, and inner peace by embracing the philosophy of Stoicism. And you'll discover why this particular approach transforms you into someone truly unforgettable. First, though, who exactly were these Stoics? Simply put, they were ancient Greek and Roman philosophers, like Seneca, Epictetus, and the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Their core teaching was this: we can't control external events, things like other people's feelings, for example, but we have absolute 100% control over our own reactions. And it's in this profound control that incredible power and freedom truly lie. So, how do we apply this ancient wisdom to a painful situation like a breakup? Let's break this down, step by step. The very first foundational step is to make an absolute and irrevocable internal decision. Understand the critical difference here. Most people use the threat of leaving as leverage, a desperate last-ditch attempt at manipulation. If you don't change, I'm gone. Sound familiar? There's no true power in that statement. It's a plea, dependent entirely on the other person's reaction. The Stoic approach is the complete opposite. Your decision to leave must ripen within you in absolute silence, without ultimatums or declarations. You make this decision not to frighten anyone, but for yourself. In that very moment, everything shifts. Your energy, your gaze, your tone. You stop being a pleader and become someone who has made a definitive choice. Your departure is no longer a bargaining chip. It's a done deal. It's like the sunrise. It simply happens, whether others want it to or not. This inner, unshakable calm is the bedrock for everything we'll discuss going forward. Without this foundation, any subsequent step you take will seem like a cheap act. Secondly, forget about drama. A truly Stoic exit isn't about slamming doors or unleashing a torrent of accusations. Think about what usually happens during a breakup: an emotional explosion, tears, shouting, a never-ending litany of mutual grievances. We instinctively want to hurt the other person, to make them feel our pain. But a Stoic understands that these are all signs of weakness and a loss of control. Drama, at its core, is a cry for help. It's a desperate attempt to cling to a dying relationship, to provoke a reaction, to garner any kind of attention. It's screaming, "Look how much I'm hurting, save me!" A Stoic doesn't beg for help. They are their own pillar of strength. So, your task is to conduct that final conversation with utmost dignity. No accusations, no attempts to make the other person feel guilty. Instead, offer a brief and clear statement of your decision. I value what we shared, but I've decided it's time for me to move forward on my own path. Full stop. This is disarming. They're expecting a confrontation, but instead they're met with calm assurance. It's not coldness, it's respect. Respect for yourself, for your decision, and even for the person you're parting ways with. Now let's turn our attention to the Stoics' ultimate superpower, the dichotomy of control. It might sound complex, but its core idea is remarkably straightforward. Imagine for a moment dividing a sheet of paper into 2 columns. In the left, list everything you can control. In the right, everything that's beyond your control. Let's fill these columns together, using a breakup as our example. What's within your control? Your words, your actions, your decision to maintain distance, your dignity, how you spend your evening, what you choose to eat for dinner. And in the right column, the other person's feelings, their thoughts, whether they'll miss you, whether they'll regret their decision, what they tell their friends about you, whether they'll ever come back. Do you see? 99% of our post-breakup suffering stems from pouring all our mental energy into that right column. We try to control the uncontrollable. This is a sure path to anxiety and despair. A Stoic, however, says, completely ignore the right column. For you, it simply doesn't exist. All your strength, all your focus goes only to the left, and that is the key to freedom. Here's how it works in practice. Once you truly grasp that you can't control another person's feelings, you stop torturing yourself with questions. Questions like, do they miss me? Are they thinking of me? Did they regret their decision? All these questions are a direct path to mental anguish because you don't have and can't possibly have the answers. Instead, you start asking yourself entirely different questions. What can I do today for my own peace of mind? What book have I been meaning to read? Which friend haven't I connected with in a while? How can I be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday? Notice the difference? It's a complete shift in focus. You literally take your mental spotlight off their lives and shine it brightly on your own. At first, this will be challenging. Your mind, by habit, will try to peek into their window. But every time you catch yourself doing it, gently but firmly tell yourself, stop, and bring your attention back to yourself. This is the true practice of Stoicism. And it's at that moment you start to radiate, not neediness, but a quiet, confident self-sufficiency. From this moment on, silence becomes your best friend. But this isn't the kind of silence you might be used to. This isn't a passive-aggressive game of silent treatment, designed to make someone suffer or endlessly guess what they did wrong. It's not a punishment. Stoic silence is something else entirely. It's an act of self-preservation and profound self-respect. Imagine you're creating an invisible, protective buffer zone around yourself. The purpose of this silence isn't to punish anyone else, but to heal you. You put away your phone, log out of social media, stop waiting for messages, not so they notice your absence, but so that you can finally notice your own presence, to hear your own thoughts, rather than the constant echo of others' words. In this silence, you stop being a fragment of something else and begin the process of reclaiming your complete self. And it's precisely this genuine, unforced detachment that creates the most powerful impact. When someone receives no emotional input from you, neither anger nor longing, they are left completely alone with their own thoughts. Your absence becomes a mirror, and what they see reflected back is no longer your concern. Our next powerful tool is amor fati, a Latin phrase meaning love of one's fate. This is arguably one of the most challenging, yet also one of the most liberating concepts in Stoicism. Stoics believe that everything that occurs, every event, happens not by chance, but as an integral part of a perfect cosmic order. Your task isn't merely to accept what has happened, nor just to grit your teeth and bear it. Instead, it's to genuinely love and embrace that event. Yes, that's right. To genuinely love the fact that you've gone through a breakup. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But let's consider it from a different perspective. A breakup isn't the end of the world. It's a painful yet ultimately necessary turning point on your journey. Instead of dwelling on questions like, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Ask yourself, what can this situation teach me? What invaluable lesson can I extract? What new opportunities does it present for my growth? Amor fati is when you look at the aftermath, the very ruins of your relationship, and genuinely say, thank you. This was necessary for my evolution. From this very foundation, I can now build something entirely new, something far stronger and more resilient. This is a complete and utter rejection of the victim mentality. You are not simply someone to whom things happen. Instead, you are the architect of your destiny, choosing to leverage what has occurred for your ultimate benefit and growth. Your main goal now shifts. Up until now, perhaps even subconsciously, your focus has been on getting that person back. You've been checking your phone, analyzing past conversations, and searching for hidden signs. Every single action was driven by that one goal. Stoicism, however, invites you to undergo a mental revolution. Let go of that goal entirely. It's no longer relevant. Your new goal, your new mission, is to become the kind of person no one would ever want to lose. Can you feel the difference? In the first scenario, your focus was outward, on them. Now, it's entirely inward, on you. It's no longer about winning them back. It's about winning yourself back, the very best, strongest, most captivating version of yourself. From this moment forward, every single day should be dedicated to this new purpose. Stop asking, "What can I do to make them reach out?" Instead, ask, "What can I do today to become a more disciplined, intelligent, healthy, and engaging person?" This changes everything. You stop waiting and start taking action. You move from a passive, suffering stance into an active, creative, and powerful one. And this creative energy is precisely the magnet that naturally draws people towards you. To do this, learn to view any situation from an external, detached perspective. The Stoics called this the view from above. Imagine you're lifting off the ground, ascending higher and higher, so high that you can see your city, your country, and eventually, the entire planet. From this vantage point, your personal drama, no matter how immense it feels right now, appears as a tiny speck in the vast ocean of human stories. Billions of people before you have loved and separated, and billions more will do so after you. This technique helps to strip away the excessive emotional charge from any situation. You stop perceiving your breakup as a unique, cosmic tragedy. Instead, you see it as a common, albeit painful, life experience. This doesn't invalidate your feelings. On the contrary, it places them in their proper context. You are not the victim of some unique injustice. You are the protagonist of your own story. And in any good story, the protagonist must face trials to become stronger. Your breakup isn't the end of your story. It's simply one chapter. And only you decide what will be written in the next chapter. Think of physical activity as a powerful metaphor. After a breakup, it's incredibly easy to slip into apathy, shut yourself off from the world, and wallow in self-pity. A Stoic, however, understands the unbreakable connection between body and mind. Strengthen one, and you inevitably strengthen the other. But there's a crucial distinction here. The goal isn't to hit the gym just to snap a revenge body selfie and post it online. That would simply be another form of manipulation, an attempt to elicit a reaction from others. Instead, engage with your body for the sake of the process itself, for the inherent discipline it fosters. When you push yourself to go for that run, even when every fiber of your being resists, you're not just training your muscles, you're forging your willpower. Every mile, every set at the gym becomes a small victory over your own weakness. You're concretely demonstrating to yourself, I can push through discomfort, I can set goals, and I can achieve them. This confidence, forged in the fires of physical exertion, automatically spills over into other areas of your life. You become a person who doesn't shy away from challenges, who faces them head-on. And this profound inner strength resonates with those around you far more deeply than any sculpted muscles you might display in a photograph. Apply the same principle to your mind. After a breakup, your mind can feel like a room with the same sad song playing on repeat, endless analysis of the past, replaying conversations, and lingering regrets. To silence this internal noise, you need to give your mind a new engaging task. New fuel for thought. Dive into learning something you've long put off. Always wanted to learn Italian? Go buy that textbook today. Dreamed of delving into the history of ancient Rome? Find a documentary or a captivating podcast. Ever wanted to learn to play the guitar? Look up some tutorials on YouTube. It doesn't matter what it is. The key is that it should be challenging and genuinely engaging. When your brain is occupied with a new challenge, it simply won't have the mental capacity for unproductive suffering. You are literally replacing old, painful neural pathways with new, positive, and productive ones. You're not just distracting yourself. You are actively building a new, more interesting, and multifaceted self. And you're becoming the kind of person others want to talk to, not about the past, but about the future. Don't shut yourself off. After a breakup, it's incredibly tempting to retreat into your shell, cut yourself off from the world, and endlessly stew in your pain. It might feel like a safe haven. But Stoicism reminds us that humans are social beings. Isolation only amplifies your suffering and shrinks your world down to the size of a single problem. So your mission is to do the precise opposite. Reconnect with old friends. Reach out to that friend you haven't spoken to in 6 months. Message a friend who knew you even before this relationship began. Important. This doesn't mean turning your friends into a constant emotional dumping ground, spending hours complaining about your ex. No. Your goal is to remember who you were before this relationship. Talk about other things. Share old laughs. Pick up a shared hobby. You need to actively demonstrate to your brain that your life has meaning and connection, even without that one specific person. You're not just seeking a distraction. You are actively rebuilding your social universe, placing yourself at the center, not merely orbiting someone else's world. And of course, a modern Stoic principle: absolutely no digital stalking. Ancient Roman Stoics didn't have Instagram or Facebook, but the core principle remains exactly the same. Every time you check an ex-partner's profile, you're willingly swallowing a dose of poison. You're searching for answers that simply aren't there. You're trying to decode their inner world through photos and likes. It's an illusion of control and a direct path to self-sabotage. Understand that what you're seeing isn't reality, but a carefully curated and filtered performance. And every minute spent on this digital snooping is a minute stolen from your own life, from your healing and recovery. So, take decisive action. Unfollow them. Mute their posts. If you need to, block them. This isn't an act of anger or spite, it's an act of digital self-care. Think of it like clearing your plate of food you're allergic to. You're not doing it to punish the food, you're doing it to protect your own well-being. Your inner peace is your most precious possession, and you are absolutely obligated to safeguard it in every way possible. But what if they're the ones who reach out? Sooner or later, it's bound to happen. A text message, a phone call, or a chance encounter. And that's the ultimate test of your inner strength. All your previous efforts, all the work you've done on yourself, will be put to the test, because old habits and emotions will try to take over. Your heart will race. 1,000 thoughts will flood your mind. Your first instinctive reaction will likely be overly emotional, maybe joy and hope, or perhaps anger and resentment. Or you'll want to respond immediately, to prove something, to engage in dialogue. A Stoic, however, does one simple thing. He pauses. He doesn't react instantly. He gives himself time for emotions to settle, for his rational mind to take control. He understands that this contact is merely an external event, and it holds no power over him unless he chooses to grant it that power. Your reaction will show everything, whether you're still hooked or if you are truly free. Your response should be polite, calm, and exceptionally brief. Let's break down this formula. Polite. Because you are a strong and magnanimous person. You don't stoop to insults or passive aggression. You're above that. Calm. Because you control your emotions rather than letting them control you. Your response should betray no hint of resentment nor any trace of exuberance. Just an even, neutral tone, and crucially, it must be exceptionally brief. No open-ended questions, no conversational hooks. If someone texts you, "Hi, how are you?" the worst thing you can do is elaborate on your struggles or, conversely, detail how wonderfully everything is going. A proper Stoic response would be something like, "Hi, thanks, I'm doing well." Period. No asking back, "How about you?" You politely close the door. You don't burn bridges, but you don't throw open the gates either. You're simply indicating that this dialogue isn't a priority for you. This message isn't the event of the century. It's just one of many notifications on your phone, and you have more important matters to attend to. Your task is to avoid giving false hope, not to them, and even more importantly, not to yourself. Too often, when we receive a message from the past, we start building castles in the air. We think, what if they finally understood? Or, maybe this is a chance to fix everything. We cling to any glimmer of possibility because a part of us still yearns to return to that familiar comfort zone. But a Stoic understands that clarity is the highest form of kindness. Vague answers, subtle hints, agreeing to a just friendly meeting, all of this is cruel to both parties involved. You're only prolonging the agony and delaying the inevitable. It's far more honest and humane to draw a clear line. This doesn't mean you have to be rude. It means you need to be clear. If someone invites you for coffee just to talk, but you know it won't lead anywhere productive, the best response is, "Thank you for the offer, but I think I'll decline." No explanation needed, no excuses, because you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your no is a complete and sufficient answer. In doing so, you preserve your dignity and prevent both yourself and the other person from getting stuck in illusions. Understand one simple truth: nothing is as attractive as genuine self-sufficiency. Let's break down what that truly means. It's not a pretense of indifference, nor is it a mask of aloofness. It's a deep, internal state where your happiness and inner peace are not dictated by the presence or absence of another person in your life. A person constantly seeking approval, who waits by their phone for a message, or is ready to drop all their plans for a fleeting encounter, radiates an energy of neediness. They're essentially shouting to the world, "I am incomplete without you." A truly self-sufficient individual, on the other hand, projects an entirely different energy. They convey, "I enjoy being with you, but I'm just as content on my own. My life is rich and fulfilling, regardless of your presence." And it's this second type of person who becomes a magnet. Why? Because no one wants to be someone else's emotional crutch. People gravitate towards individuals who are complete within themselves, those who can share their abundance rather than trying to fill their own void at someone else's expense. And when you truly become that kind of person, the question, "How do I get them back?" simply fades away. Instead, a new question arises: do I even need them anymore? The Stoics frequently contemplated death, a practice they called memento mori, Latin for remember death. At first glance, this might seem morbid and depressing. Why dwell on death when life is already difficult enough? Yet in reality, it's one of the most life-affirming philosophies. It's not about pessimism. It's a profound reminder that your time on this earth is finite. Every single day you spend grieving over someone who chose to leave your life is a day you steal from yourself, a day you will never reclaim. When you view your breakup through the lens of memento mori, it starts to lose its overwhelming significance. You then ask yourself, do I truly want to spend my one precious life dwelling in sorrow and waiting for what won't return? Or do I want to seize this time to learn, to grow, to travel, to create, to love? This thought acts like a splash of cold water. It's sobering. It forces a radical re-evaluation of your priorities. The pain of a breakup might feel immense, but it pales in comparison to the agony of realizing you've squandered precious years of your life. To remember death, then, is to truly begin to value life, right here, right now. Transform the pain of a breakup into fuel. Think about all the colossal energy you're currently pouring into dwelling on what went wrong. Sleepless nights, endless conversations with friends, analyzing the past, worrying about the future. All these drain your mental and emotional reserves. Right now, this energy is working against you, eroding you from the inside. But what if you could flip that dynamic entirely? The Stoics taught that every obstacle on your path can be transformed into the path itself. Your pain isn't a wall, it's a stepping stone. It's concentrated energy that you can and should channel into something constructive. Feeling a wave of sadness? Don't drown it in Netflix binges or comfort food. Instead, lace up your running shoes and run until you feel that satisfying exhaustion. Feeling anger and resentment? Channel that fury into learning a challenging new skill or tackling a deep clean of your home. Turn the chaos of your emotions into order in your life. Each time you do this, you're not just distracting yourself. You're performing an act of alchemy, turning the lead of suffering into the gold of personal growth. Your pain becomes your greatest resource for forging a new, stronger version of yourself. And this brings us to the central paradox. The moment you genuinely build a life where there's simply no room for this person, he will, almost inevitably, want back in. Think about it. You've taken all the previous steps. You made a conscious decision. You walked away from the drama. You focused on what you could control. You grew stronger, both physically and intellectually. You surrounded yourself with supportive friends. Your life has blossomed with new purpose, goals, and interests. And what's the outcome? You're no longer waiting for a message. You're not checking his social media. You are authentically engrossed in your own captivating life. Your happiness is no longer dependent on his presence. And it's at this precise moment that your absence truly becomes palpable for him. He sees not someone suffering, but someone flourishing. He realizes the world didn't crumble after he left. Instead, it became brighter and more engaging for you. And this triggers a powerful cognitive dissonance. His ego is wounded, his confidence in his own indispensability is utterly shaken, and the natural impulse is to test. Do I still hold power over this person? It's practically unavoidable. And here's where things get really interesting. A twist you might not have seen coming. The moment their return stops being your primary goal, when you find happiness within yourself, not in someone else's approval or presence, that's precisely when you become most valuable to them. Why? Because you're no longer demonstrating weakness and need, but strength, integrity, and self-sufficiency. You show that your worth isn't tied to whether they're with you or not. And that's incredibly attractive. They don't see a discarded, suffering partner, but a strong, evolving individual who overcame adversity and emerged even better. The natural reaction to this is the thought, "What an incredible person I lost." But by then, it might no longer matter to you. So, a Stoic departure isn't a tactic, it's a philosophy. It's not about leaving someone, it's about coming home to yourself. And that's its true strength. You're not playing a game to win, you simply step out of it, a winner by definition. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If this philosophy resonates with you, please like it and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos about the power of the mind. Now, a question for you. What do you think is the most challenging aspect of taking such a Stoic approach to a breakup? Share your thoughts in the comments below.